Hi, I'm Susan and welcome to Susan Stanley Stitch in Time. Oh my goodness, I think this might be my last video of the year 2024, and what a year it has been. Thank you so much for all your support and kindness, and I'm super excited about the journey of First Stitches, and for those of you who are joining me, it's just been really fun and there's more to come. So I'm looking forward to it greatly, and I can't wait to share it with you. I have lots of plans. We're going to grow our stitching skills. We're going to learn about the way things were done in the 19th century, and we're going to explore the approximate materials that were used, and then we're going to look at some contemporary options, all centered around these little girls that I've had so much fun creating. Mary, I'll show them to you. Mary, they're becoming like little friends to me. I know, that's crazy. Farabee and Corliss. And as a part of the journey, I've crafted stories, and I've just been having a lot of fun with it. So on today's episode, I want to share with you a new thread to me that I've started stitching with, and some of you probably know what it is because I've been sharing about it on Instagram and posting about it. I'll show you what I stitched. I'll show you a tiny bit of haul that I acquired, and I have a Solstice Stitching Invitation for you. And the Winter Solstice this year is December 21st. So if you're watching this after the fact, go ahead and stitch with me on the video. I put it on YouTube so you can watch it at any time. So my new discovery, or the new thing I've been trying that I'm sharing with you, is this beautiful Perlee thread. And I've been collecting as much as I can. Of course, the tiny spools are just delicious and I love them, but the thread itself is even more delicious. It is a twisted silk, and if you're a cross stitcher, it works great on 28 to 32 count, at least in my experience. I used a 26 tapestry needle, and I'll show you what I stitched. It turned out really nice, and the luster is just delicious for Christmas ornaments or any kind of thing that you want to sparkle and shine. So I've been starting to collect these. I've also offered them in little packets as gift items or stocking stuffers for your friends or yourself. So let's see. I used a chart and I just was playing. I wanted to experiment with it and just see how I liked it. So I took a motif from the Scarlet House, My Gift to Thee, and I stitched it and I added some sparkle, and this is my finish. And I don't know if you can see that, but it's so cute. And it's fairly, I can't say it's a whole lot different in my experience than stitching with 103. Kind of has that same tactile feeling, but it was just so fun, and I think, maybe I'll get motivated to make some little tiny ornaments for next year. I'm not typically a stitcher at this time of year for holiday decorations. It's usually for gifts, and this was fun. So I encourage you to try Perlee. If you're a quilter, it's beautiful for the big stitch. If you're quilting, it's fantastic for embellishment. And I will pop a picture in here of a friend who used it, a friend's applique block. She used it to embellish the leaves, and it turned out really nice. So let me put that picture in here. I also have a picture of the tower that I built, a little Christmas tree tower of all the spools I've collected so far. The spools are so cute. I could just display the spools and not use the thread, but that would be kind of silly, wouldn't it? The thread is so gorgeous. So also, if you're a quilt, if you are work with wool, if you do wool applique or any kind of wool embellishment, this thread is beautiful. It's kind of similar in weight to pearl cotton, but the experience of stitching with it is nothing like the resistance you have with pearl cotton. It glides, you can imagine, because it's silk. So it's just beautiful, and I wanted to give you an opportunity to try it, and more about that opportunity at the end of this video. Okay, so haul. What have I purchased? I have a couple new things to share with you. I have been having so much fun in my first stitches journal, and I don't know, you probably know what I'm talking about, but let me just show you here. I have been using this mixed media journal book to retell the story that I've been working on all year with the young girls who are helping us learn to quilt. And if you're joining me, I'm so excited you're here. You don't have to do this. I just find, for me, I needed a way to keep the story straight, and so I needed a book, and I thought, why not make it fun and decorative? I am going to do a short video that just shows you how I get set up, what materials I use, and all of that. For those of you who've asked, that will be coming out soon. But anyway, I've been having so much fun with this, and my goal with this was to retell the story and decorate it and make it fun. And basically, it's what I've written out for my show notes, glued into the book with embellishment and pictures. What I didn't do, and I kind of wish I had, is I didn't show or write my experience, my feelings, and my thoughts. So if you're going to start a journal, if you want to have a memory of, if you're walking through these time period doll quilts with me and learning about the way things were done in different places and at different times, you might want to consider doing that. But I found this recently, and the packaging is so gorgeous, but look at what it says on there. Yeah, 1870, just like Farabee and Corliss. It's absolutely gorgeous. It comes in this beautiful box. It comes with a tag, a bead. It is put out by Galen Leather. And the marbled cover is just beautiful. It's packaged in here so tight, beautifully, that I can't get it out. Okay, hold please. Okay, I don't want to rip the box because the box is beautiful. Maybe I didn't put it in properly. I don't know. Okay. All right, so this is the journal. And it's, it comes with a guide page, so you can put that behind the pages and write straight. Comes with graph page as a guide, so you can draw if you want. Several sizes. But I got this. This would be really great if you just want to write about your experiences. You don't want to retell the story. You just want to say, I'm learning to quilt, or I'm taking this first stitches journey with Susan Stanley Stitch in Time, and I want to write about my experiences of using these proximate materials and how it compares to the contemporary materials, if you try those as well, and just your feelings about people who've stitched before, you know, whatever comes to your mind, whatever's meaningful to you. It also comes with this leather pad to put behind the page if you're writing, don't want it to soak through, or you need a little bit of a cushion on the paper. So, you know, I thought I could use this in that way, although it's kind of been 2 years, so it's almost 2 years. It's kind of past that for me, and I do have another booklet that I keep, another journal that I keep that I write about my stitching and my feelings about it. So I thought, you know what, I'm going to use this as my 1870s commonplace book where I keep all the information and notes on the way things were done related to sewing and stitching and quilting and all the textile things in 1870s. And if you are wondering what is a commonplace book in a very simple answer is kind of your receptacle, your encyclopedia for information that you're gathering about a topic. And so there's a lot of history about commonplace books, and I might share more in the future. You can look it up. But I think I'm going to use this in that way, and this will be my reference and my resource guide for when did that tool become available? Oh, let me look. It's in my book. You know, what kind of quilts were there being made in 1870? Oh, I can look here. What kind of cross stitch was being done? What materials were available? All of that. So I love this. It's just the best quality. This is leather. It will patina, I'm sure, over time. And I'll show you, you know, as I take time to write in it, I'll show you my progress. I like the way it lays flat when you open it. All the things, it checks all the boxes. So that was one piece of haul. And then another piece, and that was so fun. And you know, you can use a 3-ring notebook, anything. I just want to encourage you to write down your thoughts and feelings and your experience as you do these things. It's so enriching to look back on, and your family members will be so grateful to have that little piece of you and the way you processed and thought through things in the future. Okay, another thing that I was so delighted to receive is this beautiful book, and I know a lot of people have already talked about it, but I wanted to have my turn as well. Choice and Precious Work, Treasures from the Schoolroom, 1650 to 1770, The Needle and Beyond. This is produced by Whitney Antiques. It's just high quality, and the pictures show the images of, like I said, treasures from early girlhood stitching in 1650 to 1770, and you'll be amazed at what was being stitched during that time period. Now, that's not normally the time period I focus on, but it's all a continuum, right? It all came from somewhere and leads up to where we are today. And I just find it fascinating to take a peek at that. It's well written in the front. There are several essays, including one from our own Katie Strachan, yes, of Katie Strachan Embroidery, Artisan Embroidery. You will definitely want to get it just for that. But Rebecca Scott of Whitney Antiques has done just a marvelous job of taking us into the world, the material culture, what was going on during this time period, and what was driving the stitching. Why was the stitching being done? Where was it being done? Who are the teachers? There's still a lot of unanswered questions, and it's always, you know, there's always a door open for lots more exploration and research. But I just think if you are a student of textile history, oops, wrong page. If you're interested in early stitching and the way things were done and how we got to where we are today, you're going to want this book. It is an investment. It's a beautiful piece for your library. It's well worth, I think, every penny that you pay for it. So I would highly encourage you to explore that. I think the more we know about the past, at least for me, it enriches what I'm doing today. And it helps me look back on those who've come before and how and why they did things the way they did. All right, and now I'd like to talk to you a little bit about a season that we're approaching, which is winter, the winter solstice. Some of you would say, oh yeah, it's already here. We are approaching the longest night of the year, or the shortest day of the year, however you want to look at it. And this year in the northern hemisphere, it is December 21st. And we don't always think about it because we're getting ready for holiday celebrations, which come right after, and it's a lot of busyness. But you know, throughout time, people have been so keenly aware of what was going on in the skies, on the earth. You know, they were farmers. They were very keyed into the weather and patterns and the changing of the seasons, the tilt of the earth. Now we understand exactly what's happening, the way the earth is tilting away from the sun and all that. But needless to say, you know, I crafted this little doll quilt around a little girl who lived in a farming community in Kentucky, whose father was very much aware of the change of seasons, whose family had emigrated. Her mother had emigrated from Sweden, and she was bringing some of the old-time traditions to her new home in America. And so I want to give you a little bit of a preface of the next chapter, which is going to be launched on December 21st. On my YouTube channel, and I hope you'll join me, because I will be reading to you the next chapter and sharing some giveaways, and it'll just be it'll be short, so you can get on with everything that you have to do this time of year, because I know there's a lot to do. I have a beautiful quote that Katie sent me. Katie Strachan, the same Katie, sent me after the last video, and it was from Wallace Stevens, and it says, "One must have a mind of winter to regard the frost and the boughs of the pine trees, crusted with snow." And it's from his poem, The Snowman. And I do plan to go back and read the entire poem. I'm sure it's beautiful. I love sentiments like that. And this is why I have all these journals, because I can't just let this go. I have to write that down somewhere, because I want to be able to find it and re-look at it someday. So thank you so much, Katie, for adding to the experience of the solstice. So for those of you who are joining me, you know, and if you've been following in the chapters, you know that Farabee has been working on her doll quilt, and she has a tin star as her quilting template. All right, so here's the tin star that I had specially crafted for this project. If you get the kit, you've already seen this and you know all about it. It's part of what is used for the quilting. And you'll find out the rest of the story on the 21st when you join me. But so farmers and people in the past were very much more in tune to the seasons, and one of the things they kind of clung to was this old Farmers Almanac. Now this is one that I got on an antique site, and it really is an original from 1876, and it's pretty worn. But what I loved is, you can see here it was hung with a piece of leather to be easily accessible to the farmer, and it has all different pieces of information about the seasons and what was going on. It has advertisements for different kinds of syrup in the front. It has remedies for all kinds of ailments. It's just so interesting to me at the resource. And look at that. I mean, that's a lot. It's just like pure reading, that whole page. Let's see if I bring my glasses. No, I can. Anyway, I just found it so interesting to read through. It has it has a page for each month and then a little verse, a little poem, and then it tells you what to expect for the weather and when to plant. And all of it that, if you're a gardener, you probably are thinking, Susan, well, what's the big deal? Because they actually still sell this. I mean, it's still available at the garden shops to buy and reference. But I just find it kind of amazing that, my life has been pretty void of using this book. So, and it was a very important part of a farming community. And so the change of the season would be a time where, families would draw in and people would start to plan for the spring. And so many of the traditions date back for hundreds of years, and they combine pagan and Christian elements, and there are things that we do we may not even know the origin of. But, there are things we do, our family members before us typically did them, and they mean a lot to us because of that. One of them, of course, is the gathering of the greens, having greenery in your home, including wreaths and trees and all that. And it's all to remind people in earlier times of the warmer days to come. Winter was a dangerous time, and food was scarce. If you hadn't planned well for the future or couldn't plan well for the winter, you were going to experience some lean days. There were the tradition of the Yule log, where they would bring in a Yule log and burn it until the embers were almost completely out, keeping the embers stoked. And burning it till it was almost done, and saving a piece to be burnt with the new log for next year. And kind of this whole tradition and this whole way of continuing this revolving season, the revolving seasons. And they would spread ashes in the fields and do all kinds of things to wake up the trees. They would drink spice cider and sing loudly to wake up the trees, and all these things that we do but maybe don't connect with that time. And so but one of the things that I still do is I make a bread every year, and I was so excited to find out, really thrilled to find out, that this yellowy bread that I make has ancestral roots back to some of these traditions, and it's a yellowy bread, and I'm going to show it to you, and you might recognize it. And the yellow in the bread is supposed to remind us of the warmer days to come. So if you're cold right now, you need to eat some yellow bread. I spread mine with some lemon curd, which was another tradition, another yellow item. I just thought that was so interesting, and I used my grandma's old recipe. Let's see if you can read that. I don't know. It's a yeast bread, and boy, oh boy, taken me a long time to know how to do that. But it's they would drink spice cider with a cinnamon stick, and that's just a tradition that has carried over. And so I crafted Farabee's life to be kind of based on some of this. And as you may know, and you may not know, that my grandmother's name was Althea, and thus the name for Farabee's doll. So anyway, you may have some warm yellow item that you eat during this time of year. Maybe it's a panettone, maybe it's a ginger shortbread, something with that warm yellow. And I'm going to share this recipe on my website. I'm going to type it out so you can read it, and I'm also going to make a photo of it in my grandmother's handwriting. So if you are doing a book and telling the story, you can add that to the book, because you are right if you're guessing that Farabee's family is going to be eating some saffron bread. Yes, they are. So I just thought it would be fun to incorporate these traditions into the story, and I hope you'll join me on December 21st for the launch or the release of the next chapter. And it'll be short and it'll be sweet, and it'll be just time to get together and put some stitches in and remember people in the past who were so keenly aware of the seasons and the change of the time. And I hope you're enjoying the holidays and looking forward to whatever way you celebrate Christmas, whatever your traditions are. I just hope that you have the best of times. And there will be some giveaways on the episode where I read the chapter to you. And bring any stitching that you like. Bring your knitting. Bring your drawing. Whatever. Just come listen, and let's just put some meaningful time in together. And then just, if you're doing something written, just jot a little note that I stitched this on the longest night of the year, the shortest day of the year, on the winter solstice, as the earth was turning and tilting, and we're not even aware of what's going on. We're just busy doing all our things. Just be aware of what's going on around you. So thank you for joining me today. We have lots of fun things coming up in 2025, and I will keep you posted on more. I'll be doing some short videos to show you just some ways I do things and just give you some tips and tricks. And I hope to see you in the future. Best of holidays to you. Bye-bye.